Study guide section on pre-production. Hopefully you know there are three phases: pre-production, production, and post-production. If you don't, we'll learn them today. In pre-production, we start with a script. What is the first document called that tells the story and begins all pre-production? A script, also called a screenplay or a teleplay in some situations. Basically, they're interchangeable. Why are you telling this story? What is its purpose? If you're from the East Coast, what is its purpose? P-U-R-P-O-S-E. So, you might say, I'm going to go film a documentary on watching the grass grow. Well, there's a few things related to this. Well, what's the purpose of that? I don't know. Well, you better have a reason. Are you trying to tell people that it's okay to waste your time and watch the grass grow? Are you trying to tell people it's time to mow their lawn? What is your purpose for this story? I say story, it can be a news story, it can be a commercial, it can be whatever. Number 3, name some elements of a good storyboard. Think about what you see and hear. Okay, here's a typical storyboard. You always have the squares that you're going to fill in what you see visually, and then underneath you can add some different things that we're going to talk about right now. But first, the storyboard itself shows what you think you're going to be filming. So here we have an establishing shot. It says a teacher saying this week storyboard, and students, we know we're in a classroom. You have a close-up shot, and let's see, here's kind of a full shot because it's got the person at the desk, a medium shot. So that's what you see. Oh, an extreme close-up, right? And then underneath here is where you write dialogue, camera directions. You might want to write all these down. Dialogue, which means the people that are talking, what they're saying right now. The teacher is saying, this week we're going to talk about storyboards. And then the response from the students, yay! Actually has one student that's interested and one student that says ZZZ for he's falling asleep. That's you right there. You can also put in music, sound effects, whatever you think is going to be necessary to convey what you're doing there. Here's a voiceover. That means you don't actually see them talking on the screen, you hear it. But a voiceover means it's over the top of whatever's on the screen. It says, I've never done this. Let's see if there's anything else here. Fade out as if ending. So you give the instructions for what it's going to look like even in post-production. That's the storyboard that you guys want to do. It can be stick figures, but you want to do something that actually shows at least those elements of a good storyboard. Okay, similarly to purpose, we have, if you are making a commercial, you are selling a product to your target audience. It has a purpose, it also has a target audience. What would be a good example of missing your target audience? What's some show that only old people watch? Maybe even the 10 o'clock news, or if you've heard of 60 Minutes. Old people like me are interested in that. You wouldn't sell skateboards or AirPods, probably. You wouldn't make a commercial on those to sell during 60 Minutes. Okay? And then the opposite is also true. You wouldn't sell hearing aids during a Nickelodeon show. Okay? Who's going to buy hearing aids when they're 6 years old? But you do have to figure out what your target audience is and how you're going to sell to them. So, if I'm selling to teenagers that like skateboards, I'm showing the skateboard, the trucks, I'm showing how I can do this it's a new cool painting. It's like a skin, and it lasts forever, and you can put your name on it, and it's not too expensive. It's just right for teenagers. Okay, I'm looking for my target audience. Then the page that shows you the schedule of events and cues for live news broadcast. That's sort of different, but it is still part of all this pre-production we're talking about. So now we're not doing a filming of an original commercial. Now we're going to do our broadcast, right? Our morning broadcast news, our announcements. And we need to have, yep, someone said it, a rundown. Lists all the things in the order. Good morning ALA, go to the pledge, insert graphic, run video, closing credits, right? That's the rundown. List 4 things that happen in the second phase known as production. So we talked about the first things of pre-production. All those things are pre-production. Oh, I should also mention other things like hiring your crew is part of pre-production, location scouting. Let's see, right here at noon, that's the shot I want. So you find those kinds of things. You also arrange for other things. You arrange to have food and water. All right, that's all pre-production, but now you're in production. What is production? Production is when you're on location. Okay, anything that's happening on location is really production. You could argue that set production is either part of pre-production or production, but you are spending money on sets. But once you are on the set and you're putting your props together and all that kind of stuff, you're in production. Which is the most expensive phase, would you say? Pre-production, production, or post-production? Post-production can be expensive, that's true, if it's animation or if it's these Marvel Avengers movies where they do so much CGI. But if you think about it, let's take the Marvel's Avengers. You may have 10 actors that are all getting paid more than $10 million to be on that movie. And then you've got all the crew that's with them and the director. You're probably burning about $200,000 a minute. Once you're on set, on location, like when I told you when I was on that Hawaii beach, that's when everybody is there, we've got our actors there, and it is expensive. And when jets start flying overhead and we can't even use the footage, it is costly. So anyway, in the production phase, which is the most expensive phase, you better have your act together. You have everything that we are doing in our morning news broadcast. What are your different positions? A camera operator is part of production. The teleprompter is part of production. Sound, lighting, adjusting the set and the props. And then what about the people that are in front of the camera? The anchors, the talent. They're all a part of production. Okay, then I say list 4 things that happen in post-production. When does post-production start? Right, at the end of production. What's the first thing you do though? The first thing you do is you take the memory card, the SD card, out of the camera, and now you have to start post-production by doing what? You have to ingest that footage. Upload or ingest that footage. Now you've got footage on a computer somewhere, and you begin editing. Not just editing though, break down the editing for me. Well, I'll give you a hint. There's video editing. What else is there? Audio editing, graphics. Audio breaks down into at least 3 parts. Music, sound effects, dialogue. So let's just go through it really quick though. So you ingest the footage, then you look at it and you see if you have it all, and then you'll do a rough cut and you kind of put it in place and you go, yeah, I've got it all and this is going to roughly work out. And after you've done a rough cut, and you say you're doing a commercial, and the rough cut is 3 minutes long for a 60-second commercial, then what do you have to do? You have to tighten it, right? You have to get rid of some stuff. You have to get that to fit in. You decide what stuff you can keep and what stuff you can't, what stuff is necessary. Then you get it down to 60 seconds. Then you do some tweaking. You do some color correction. You might be doing green screen, keying, chroma keying, I can say that. You'll probably be doing some sound editing. You'll add some music. You'll adjust the music. You make sure the dialogue's good. If the dialogue's not good, you got to re-record, ADR, automatic dialogue replacement, which is anything but automatic. And you re-record voices. You're doing all that editing in post. And then the final stage is making the master, outputting or making the master. So that's the sequence of the workflow. I just heard someone say, so what should I put down? Holy cow, I hope you were listening. I gave you like 10. You only needed 4. Strand 6, Standard 2, what equipment has the following functions? A production slicer. Nope, a switcher. Do we have that very switch? Is that our production switcher? No. But we do have on our production switcher a preview bus, a program bus, and a fader bar. You basically think of the signals coming from the bottom and going out and typically to the right, but the preview bus means these buttons down here are everything that you select for preview, what you're getting ready. You've got the person that is going to be doing the Pledge of Allegiance on camera B, for example. So it's ready to take, as they say. But then the program bus is when you actually take that shot, and that's what goes out to the world. So I might have some preview buses kind of queued up here, then when I actually take it, I'm going out to the world. Ready camera B right here is ready. Take camera B. You push that button, or you throw that bar, right? The fader bar. That's kind of old school, but you might still do that. There's different kinds of effects and things that you can tie into that fader bar. Let me show you what our switcher looks like. All right, that's ours. It's on a screen, and that was $1,000. And for that, you get a hardware device. I'm not going to go into our control room, but it's about that big. This is about what it looks like. There's a little hardware device that you can rack mount. It's about that big. And then the software. And it has the preview bus, and it has the program bus, and it has the fader bar. And then a lot of other things you can do with keying and setting up your different transitions if you want different kinds of wipes or dissolves. What else? Changing the colors and doing color correction and adjusting the audio. And the person that knows how to really run that, they get paid some pretty good bucks. A really good technical director, even at a local news station, is $50 an hour or more. If you go to network news, you're well over $100 an hour. And even the guys that are just anywhere working on that equipment, sound, the switcher, teleprompters or whatever, they're well over $20 an hour. The camera operators may start at $15, they end up over $20 an hour. So there you go, that's that section. Pre-production, and then I just threw this in because I needed to throw that equipment in somewhere. But learning how to do things before you actually go into production is part of pre-production, and I want everyone to learn how to run a production switcher.